federal, state, and local partnership to familiarize the American public with the multifaceted history of centuries of Islamic intellectual, political, and cultural traditions that have influenced civilizations throughout the world. Islamic intellectual thought form part of the foundation of modern Western philosophy, history, literature, medicine, mathematics, and engineering. And these ideas flowed both east to west and west to east in influences and exchanges that point to the Islamic historical tradition of crossing and sharing of cultural spaces. Contemporary media discourse too often masks and even annihilates this history of exchange and influence, presenting Muslim people and Islamic societies as distinctly other or different from Western societies. By focusing on humanistic intersections, this conference explores the intersections between cultures, particularly the intersecting forces of the human imagination. By exploring this exchange, history of exchange and mutual influence, we learn something about ourselves in a world of increasing interaction among peoples from diverse regions of the world. Here in the Twin Cities, home to both long-time and new families, whose roots extend to South Asia, Pakistan, the Middle East, and North and East Africa, acknowledging and exploring these interconnections is vital to developing a public discourse based on accurate knowledge and respect, rather than fear and innuendo. The role of religion and the field of religious studies are central to this conference. Religion, as a source and product of human civilization, influences and shapes many aspects of culture, from personal to national identity, from artistic expression to political strategies, from the construction of the built environment to means of communication. We are in a unique historical moment in that many of the academic disciplines have begun to examine the role of religion in a variety of areas of human and social behavior. This growing interest makes the Interdepartmental Religious Studies program a unique experiment in interdisciplinary scholarship and dialogue. And this conference and the range of participants in academic areas represented are excellent witnesses to the viability of this new interdisciplinary model. Now, this project, our conference, is not intended to end on Saturday evening when our scholarly guests depart. At that point, a dedicated group of community partners will be meeting with the conference organizers and others of the University of Minnesota community members to develop follow-up programs that will bring the information and knowledge imparted here to a broader national public. Community partners from several local groups have already participated in a workshop aimed at laying the groundwork for later meetings. And today, we welcome members from many groups, including a number of local schools, from North Hennepin Community College and Metropolitan State University, as well as from several community organizations, and a number of libraries and cultural organizations who have contributed together to make this conference possible and to continue the dialogue after the scholars depart. In concluding, I would like to add a personal comment about the importance of this conference. As a scholar of medieval and early modern Europe, I was trained during a time when those periods were viewed almost exclusively through a Eurocentric or Christocentric lens. The East-West opposition of medieval and early modern Christian polemicists was read uncritically and with a startlingly self-confidence about the West's superiority to the Near East. If we think back just a few decades in our academic lives, we can discern the many ways in which Westerners interested in Islam were considered marginal to the triumphalist narrative of what was essentially a purely Western European worldview. I wish I could say that we have advanced well beyond this lingering Western European perspective. Much progress has indeed been made, especially in scholarly discourse. Medievalists are now learning and reading Arabic with as much gusto and proficiency as they do Latin. But the Eurocentric view still persists in many places. in the debate about Islam's place in Europe, in the lingering afterlife of crusading vocabulary and metaphors among Western politicians, in the discussion of policymakers over the past 8 weeks about whether several North African states have finally embraced Western values, and in recent scholarly venues that celebrate the Baltic, not the Mediterranean, as the quintessential European Sea, since it is not bounded by any Muslim nations. There is still clearly much work to be done to achieve the coexistence envisioned by this conference organizers and presenters, and I am delighted that thanks to the generosity of the National Endowment for the Humanities and of many University of Minnesota departments and so many partner institutions, we will have the opportunity to advance the coexistence project today. I would like to congratulate our conference organizers, Professor Nabil Matter, Professor Bill Beeman, and Dr. Jean Kildee for their inspired leadership that has given us such a rich educational opportunity to learn from each other how best to advance our common project of shared cultural spaces. Thank you.